Well, hello everybody. This is Kari Tauring here with Max Stevenson for Norway House. And we have been talking over the course of the last few years that I've been working at Norway House about this seasonal aspect towards all of our crafts and teachings. And of course, this is one of the most wonderful times of the year for us when we have just gone past the equinox, from winter solstice to the equinox. And the equinox is a solar point. And it's a very important thing to know. When is the equinox? When is the solstice? So there's two equinoxes, two solstices. And one of the things that we really love to do at Norway House is to look at the whole of the root system. So the things that came in a very ancient context, all the way into sort of what I grew up with, is thinking of Norwegians as mostly Lutheran. So the way the church calendar has dovetailed with the calendar of nature and the cycles of nature that we followed from our very ancient of days. It's fun to talk about Easter coming up. Because Easter is a lunar holiday. It is always the first Sunday after the first full moon after equinox. So this year, Easter is on April 12th. But of course, as you must understand by how lengthy our Christmas Yuletide celebrations are, we don't just do one day in our culture. We do a series of days. Many people started already at Lent with Fat Tuesday or Fasteloven, or what do they call it in German? I'll think of it. Anyway, it's that day before Lent, the time when you just kind of eat all the fatty foods. You eat Shrove Tuesday buns, you eat whatever you want and party and that kind of thing. And then you take and you have this series of Lenten weeks where you give up things. Now, many of us, I think all of us around the world at this point, are pretty much quarantined. And here in Lent of 2020, giving up so many more things than we ever might have calculated to give up. But there is, it's a good time of the year to be working on this thing of cleaning ourselves out, cleaning out the house, and cleaning all the old winter spirits out of the house and the garden and the farm. So I'm going to talk a little bit about these different traditions, and then we'll come to the påskris. Pås is the word for Passover, and or pås or påsk are Passover. Now, in the Christian tradition that revolves around Jesus, we understand that the Passover feast was celebrated on the Friday before the Saturday. So that's what we call Good Friday. And so all of Easter words then take on the meaning of the sort of root of Passover. So now we are going to, we had our equinox, and now March 24th, which is tomorrow, is the beginning of the next month. The new moon, which means Mani, the moon god, cannot be seen. He's hiding his face, and he can't collect the rays from his sister Suna to shine on us. So there's this new moon time, and it's the beginning of the month. So this beginning of the month in Old Norse was called Einmaður, one moon, or Tormåned, which is Thor's moon. And in Finnish, it's called Hyttiku, which is the moon of burning wood. So the burning of wood is an important aspect of this phase of the moon time. And cleaning, spring cleaning, and all of those kinds of things are very, very important. All right, so when the moon is new and we take a cutting of something, it's got this very sort of energy of stasis. If you wait to do your cuttings of your tane, your little branches that you're going to use for the sweeping out and the blessing of the farmstead until after the new moon, then you will have the energy of rising in your tane, in your vita, in your whisks, your varpoi. So I will suggest then, as you're following along here, that you go ahead and cut your tane during just after the new moon time. So then when we cut them, we put them in water so that by Palm Sunday they might even start leafing out. We don't know for sure, but they might. So I'm gonna I'm gonna leave it. Should I leave it there for now? And then we'll talk about all of the different, we'll talk about how we make these and why we make these, and then when we use them during the course. And we'll come back to this. Okay. All right, welcome back. So we have our craft table all set up here for making our pussy willow wisps. So the first thing you're gonna wanna do is pick a stick, and since we have some that are actual pussy willows and some that are not, we have three options for making the pussy willow wisps. One is to take these colorful pom-poms and the hot glue gun and glue them on to the wisp, the tane or tine, depending on which side of the fjord you're on. And then I gotta go over here inside. Another option for you is cotton balls. So you can take, each kid can have a cotton ball, each person can have a cotton ball, and you can here's your cotton ball. And so you can pull a little bit off and roll it in your hands like this and kind of shape it into a little pussy willow wisp. And so you can glue that on as well. Now, let's see, I'm using a hot glue gun here. And then I'm just popping that on there like that. It gets on my fingers. Yeah. So, so you can do that kind of all the way up and down the branch. And that's two ways. And then the third way is to take, if you don't have either of those, you could get a little wool batting or anything like that. And you can do the same as you would with the cotton ball and make a little ball of the wool. And then that can also go on there. That can go on too. So those are three different ways of creating the pussy willow. Now, why the pussy willow is important? Well, of course, the pussy willow is a big sign of spring, and when it starts to pop out like that, that's when it's time to pick it. People, one of the things about Old Norse mindset is that spring wasn't actually considered a season.
Oh.
Nope. Spring is an attitude between winter and summer.
Okay. Good
So,
fun.
yeah, isn't that fun? So when is spring? Well, spring happens when the pussy willows start budding out, when there hear certain bird calls that robins that are coming back, different signs. Spring is a sign or an attitude. Hey, that looks good.
Yeah. Coming along.
And so one of the things that happens in the spring is that the birds molt and lose some of their winter feathers, and you can find little feathers all around, and that's a sign of spring. So that's the other thing that we glue onto our påskkris is feathers, colorful feathers. So I'm going to write the word down that we're using here. Påskkris. That is the Easter switch. Easter switches.
Mm-hmm.
And I have this old charm, and it is in Finnish dialect, and you can hear it on my album Ljós. If you have that, you can find that on Spotify and everything too.
Right.
So it goes like this. It's called Virpoi Varpoi. So Virpoi Varpoi. And that relates directly to pussy willows. Not just a regular vita that you might use for switching like with birch, but Virpoi Varpoi. So it says, Virpoi Varpoi, tuo riks terviks, tulevax buodex. That's be fresh and healthy, be well with the coming year. And that's something that we all need. And then it goes on, and the charm says, Queen monta varpa, nin monta vasika. As many twigs, as many calves, because the cows are going to have the calves, and if you got lots of twigs, you'll get lots of calves. Queen monta oxa, queen monta oxa, nin monta orita. As many branches, as many colts. So you've got calves and you've got colts, and as many branches. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. We could have 4 colts. Queen monta urpa, nin monta uitia. As many catkins, that's these little parts. So many lambkins, lambs. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. I'll have 1 colt, 3 calves, and 19 lambs with just this switch. Isn't that nice?
Wow.
Where put them all? What did you do during quarantine? I grew a farm. So, so that can be part of your sort of guide as you're making this at home, is, realizing that we're doing this as a blessing, as a clearing, but also as a blessing, a fertility blessing.
Okay.
Yeah. So when does it happen that we take these påskkris and we go around from house to house? It happens at different times in different locations. around Finland, between Finland, Sweden, and Norway. Let's see, where's my little. So Palm Sunday is one of the times that you can do this, påskris. The church said, well, we could use these pussy willow switches that people are always wanting to bless each other with, and we can use them in place of the palm fronds on Palm Sunday. The story is that it's when Jesus came on the donkey into Jerusalem, right? Into Jerusalem?
Yes.
Yeah. It's been a while. Here's what we believe. And yeah, so he came into Jerusalem on the little donkey, and they put palm fronds down, and that was a symbol of honor, because in the desert regions, when you're kicking up dust, if you can put palm fronds on, that would keep the hem of his garments from getting dusty and dirty. It's that thing about keeping the dirt away.
Okay.
Yeah, so the church said, well, we'll just call these palm fronds, and we'll do that. Nowadays, of course, they ship palm fronds into Scandinavia for church service purposes. But everybody still does do the Virpoi.
Yeah.
So then...
I remember that from my time in Finland even.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Children would come around and Virpoi.
Right.
Yeah.
So the children would come around, boys and girls alike, and they would dress as påskkärring or Easter witches. And they would put a scarf, they put scarf around their neck, wear a nice apron, and then put really, really rosy cheeks and freckles on their cheeks. And then they would go door to door. I keep saying it as in past tense. I mean, I don't know how it's going to happen this year, if social distancing is going to let it happen. But and then they carry a copper kettle, and so they say, "Virvon varvon tuorix terix I know. I'm going to have Frida call in from the. Virpoi varpoi, tuorix terix, tulevax voldex, vitse sule pockamule. That means, so pussy willow wisp, keep you fresh and healthy and well with the coming year, a switch for you, and now penny. So then they would get a little candy in their copper kettle. And so that's what children all over Finland and Sweden and in parts of Norway where they still do it. We all did it. So that is something that they can do on Palm Sunday. Well, the next day after, so Palm Sunday, April 6th, is called Svart Måndag. Svart or black Måndag. Black Monday, I can't spell today. Black Monday is when you have your chimney swept out.
Yes.
So, Måndag. Måndag. There we go. Måndag. You have your chimney swept out so that in the old days, this is so that the påskkärring could get through the chimney. Now, the påskkärring need to get out of the house through the chimney, and it has to be clean. And they have to swoosh up the chimney and fly to the Blue Mountain. And this has to all happen, before before Good Friday. They have all the Easter witches have to be gone by really I think it's by Monday, Thursday. Well, anyway, so Svart Måndag, Svarta Måndag, and then we have Vita Tisdag, Vita. That's White Tuesday. So White Tuesday happens because that's the day then you clean your whole house. After your chimney is clean, then you go through and you scour up the whole house. Nordic people are so hygiene oriented. We always have been. All the way back to the beginning, all into even the Viking era. There were so many stories about how the Viking men were perceived by other sort of tribal peoples as being very persnickety with their look, you know. And every single grave from the Viking era, even poor people graves, had a comb and like earwax spoons and just like you gotta keep yourself clean, good hygiene. And so Vita Tisdag is a time for us to clean the rest of the house. The next day is called Dimmelonsdag, and that means quiet or muted Wednesday. And people were like, I don't know why it's called that, but everyone had to be quiet to observe Easter, and little wooden clappers were put on the bells in the churches so that the bells wouldn't sound. And I think everything is kind of going in towards, so remember in the Old Testament, the Passover happened because there were all these plagues that were being brought down on the Egyptians for holding the Israelites captive. And so here we are, like sort of honoring the plagues, keeping our social distance, being like, oh, and may this pass over us. And so Passover, the first Passover was when they put the blood of a lamb on the door lintel to say who was to be saved from death. And so this was the feast of the Passover that Jesus and his disciples were celebrating.
Oh.
And it was that very night that he was betrayed. Yeah,
Okay.
that very night. So we're all kind of like quiet and we're leading up to this very sorrowful time. Maundy Thursday is next. So that'd be the night. So we've got 7, 8 is Quiet Wednesday. And 9th is Maundy Thursday. That was always a real strange sort of a day, what Maundy means, you know. It's called, in Swedish, it's called Skärtorsdag, which pink is it's Pink Thursday.
We got pink.
Pink, you've got pink. Pink is also one of the healing colors of Mengalatal, the 9 healing goddesses.
Oh.
Pink is, and also skor is also a word for cleansing. And this is the day that Jesus washed the feet of his apostles. Skärtorsdagen is the day before the last. A dangerous day to be out because the old spirits had been let loose when Judas Iscariot betrayed Jesus. So it's a very dangerous day to be out and about. So you've either done your blessings on Palm Sunday or you're going to wait until the Saturday before Easter, just so you know.
Okay.
It's in the old days, it would say It was a night with the time to get engaged with the devil, who usually appeared at road crossings, and you could sign a contract with him in exchange for riches he would get you sold. Contracts like these have actually been found. The people who signed them were executed.
Oh,
Dun dun dun.
intense.
Yeah. So it wasn't Kenny Rogers who did that devil song about the devil went down to Georgia?
Oh.
Or was that, who was that? No, I don't remember. Anyway, but that's the story.
Okay.
Looking for a soul to steal.
Okay.
So,
Crush cultural references.
yeah. All of those things. All right.
Well, look at that.
Look at you. You've got that.
Quite the colorful postkris.
Yeah. So then the what you do with it then is you take your bundle from door to door in your neighborhood and you bless the householder. Now, in the old days, it said that you would beat the farmer with it. Goosh, goosh. So I don't know if that was a way to get, some angst out about social injustices of the day or what.
Cooped up inside over the long winter, right?
But really, the girls in Finland, my special daughters in Finland they just did this basically bobbing up and down with the song like this. So we're going to just do the shortened version, shall we?
Yes.
So, okay, ready? I'll say it first and you repeat.
Okay.
Virpoi, varpoi.
Virpoi, vorpoi.
Tuorix, tervix.
Tuorix, tervix.
Tulevax, vuodex.
Tulevax, torvex.
Vitsasula,
Vitsasula.
pakkamula.
Pakkamula.
You got it. So there you go, everybody at home. You can do this thing. I'm going to just kind of take you through the last days here of Easter. They're all very interesting.
Great.
You can make some more if you want to.
All right. Well, thank you, everyone, and we'll continue. But enjoy making your crafts. And as you can see, we're practicing responsible social distancing here with our 6 feet away from each other.
If you stick your arms out, you shouldn't necessarily be able to touch fingers. Just right around there.
Right. But still having fun. So
Yeah.
be safe, wash those hands, and we'll see you back here shortly.
So the last group of days then I want to continue showing you will be April 10th, which is called Long Friday. And that's Good Friday, or the day Jesus was crucified. And it's a grieving day. Up until 1969, public entertainment was prohibited on Good Friday in Sweden. Fasting is important on this day, and it's a special kind of day to. I also like to do an ancestor altar at this time, because when we're grieving those who have passed, I think it's good to remember all of those who we are grieving. And then comes the 11th, which is called påskafton, which means the eve. So påskafton, which is this is the day for feasting and eating. Easter Eve is kind of like Christmas Eve, and you have a big feast, and this is the day for the bonfire. Of course, it's a Saturday, so this is also the day for the sauna to clean yourself out that way as well. Påskellar are the Easter fires, and this was also the day for the påskskärring to return from the Blue Mountain. So here is another day in the countryside. This is usually the day that then the Easter witches go out and say, we're back and we're here to bless you. We just went to the Blue Mountain during that holy week and now we're back. So that's something that they also hang on the trees. And I found this is a La Befana cutout, but we'll have some links for you. Just you can kind of Google witches, flying witches, and then those get hung on the tree as well on your påskris. And she's got like a separate broom, so that's kind of cool. Another thing you can do is hang eggs on the branches and eggs on the trees outside. That's another one of these things. And so then the next day, the next day is Påskdagen, which is Easter, and that is the church bells get unbound from their silencing, and church bells ring, and the organs are played. And old tradition was to go out early on Easter Sunday and watch the sun dance, which people believed that it did. They believed the sun came up and danced in honor of Jesus' resurrection. So those are like some of the amazing things that we have coming up in this next moon time that you can pay attention to, that you can celebrate in your own ways, and you can feel those ancient roots. I will be also posting a link of that Maundy Thursday tradition for clearing the old winter. But that's an outside ritual because you have to burn terva, which is pine tar, and you burn it in these big buckets, and you clank all these loud clanking things together. So I'm going to post an actual video that I took in Finland last year of the women singing the song and doing it, and that'll be a lot of fun too. So if you don't have feathers and you can't go outside and find any feathers, you can, if you have some old tissue, you can take and cut old pieces of tissue, and then you can take your marker and you can color it in like so. And then you can fold it like this and then just feather it up with little snips like that. And that can go on as well. Make it in different colors that way. You can, if you don't have hot glue gun, you can use twist ties. You can use old bits of thread or yarn or ribbon, whatever you want. Tie it to the different feathers. It's easier to do it with twist. In Finland, they actually the feathers come with twist tie type things on them already, so it's kind of a lot easier. But you can tie these to the påskris this way, you know. What else? If you don't have, I mean, you guys can get creative. I think you'll be able to find lots of different things, and it'll be a lot of fun. So then what wraps sort of the whole thing up is April 14th, which is the summer side. On the Princeton calendar, that's when winter and summer flip. So now we'll be on the summer side. So all of the courses through Norway House that I'll be teaching from summer until October 14th when it flips to the winter side again will have to do with all of the things during the summertime. And I'm looking forward to providing you with all that wonderful information and crafty business in the coming weeks and months. And who knows? All right. Tack ska du ha. Thank you so much. Kiitos. And we'll see you again.